Kweshunga. This is your space to be inspired, to live a whole and full, authentic life, and to play. I mean, who doesn't want to play? I am Penelope Sanyu. I am your host, and I'm looking forward to having this beautiful conversation with you. Before we go any further, I want to thank the Agandi Studios for bringing us this beautiful presence that you are beholding, and our other partners that make sure that this happens every other week. So, if you're joining us for the first time, you probably need to understand what it is we're talking about. And those of you who are coming back, you know we have been on a journey talking about different things. I have hosted different people who are doing life on the journey of grief. We hosted Kecho, and then we hosted Julie, and they both talked about loss in terms of miscarriage and also loss of unborn babies. So, today, we are not talking about loss in that regard, but we're talking about a grief that also affects us in so many different ways. I have a very special friend with me here today who's doing the amazing work of educating people through her own personal story on the things that women need to know about their bodies and how we can handle that to live good, full, authentic lives. I'm sure you're both wondering what it is we are talking about, because you should be there thinking, oh, she's going to talk about menstruation, or they're going to talk about body image and integrity, or what. No. So today we're going to talk about the very, very important topic on endometriosis. And there's no better person to talk about this subject than the founder of the Endometriosis Foundation Uganda. Welcome with me, my friend Grace, who is going to help us understand what this issue is, how to go about it, what her story has been, and what we can glean from it to be authentic, to live better, and to find peace while we do that. So, Grace, welcome to Kweshunga.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm humbled to be here. My name is Grace Nagawa, a nurse and the CEO of Endometriosis Foundation Uganda.
A nurse. I admire nurses. They do so many good things except the needling work. I fear needles. So anything that involves pricking, I am so afraid of it. But thank you for joining us. I'm sure people out there are wondering, what is this big word? What is, but before we get into the actual endometriosis conversation, who is Grace? What does she do besides being a nurse and doing the beautiful work with the foundation? Who is she? What does she like? Who is she like in her personal life? And what is her story? What is her story?
My story will base on the way that how we came to found Endometriosis Foundation Uganda. It was really based on my journey with this condition.
Yes.
As a nurse, I was so passionate with patients, and through my journey, as I think this is the only way I can do to save many women dying out there with this problem. To my journey, I had my first periods since 14 years of age. They were so painful. I had them for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And to me, it wasn't clear blood like a normal woman has or they should have. It wasn't clear blood. It was just dark spots. It was so painful that I had to leave school and then go home for 2 weeks. You know, it was cramping. I used to roll down, vomiting, and had that diarrhea. So my mom is a nurse. So I started taking painkillers at 14 years. So because of this terrible pain, I began taking painkillers, and she didn't know what exactly the problem was. So after 3 months after that first period, I didn't experience them again. I just missed them for 3 months. Then the 4th month, I resumed. So still it was painful, and I used to take 2 weeks in my menses. So I moved on. So 4 years after, I moved into a hospital, one of the big hospitals in Uganda. But I tried to explain what I was going through and that horrible pain, but they couldn't explain what it was. So I moved on like that. And the pain that used to be only period pain, it started coming 4 days before my periods. It
so
became severe during, and then afterwards I used to feel this pain. So as years kept going on, I started getting other symptoms, terrible headache throughout the month, and this headache couldn't go away with painkillers. I started, getting those pregnancy symptoms, like you're there and you're nauseated, you feel dizzy, you're craving at times, and you lose appetite. So throughout the month, I'm losing appetite. Am I pregnant? What's the yet I've not met any man. So I moved on like that. And not until I went to train as a nurse. So that was 2016. So I joined a nursing institution and then started my training. So the pain started becoming so severe in that I started feeling it daily. You find that every day you feel it's like someone putting a metal in fire and then they put it on your tummy.
Oh my goodness, that is pain.
All the time I had this horrible pain, and I started taking herbal because in hospitals they used to treat for UTI. They check your urine, and of course when you go explain these symptoms, someone will be like, maybe you're pregnant. They do check pregnancy tests. They do pregnancy tests, but I'm not pregnant. So they started treating UTI. They started treating PID, not knowing that I really had endo. So I used to move into scans and they started seeing cysts. Normally, someone with endometriosis, we get those cysts, but they are not these normal cysts like fibroids or cysts. It's just that blood that can't escape from your uterus.
It's just stuck in the uterus wall.
So it starts bleeding outside. So it will make pockets. And when you do a scan, someone will just see a cyst and they can't detect it's endometriosis. So that's why the only diagnostic test is a laparoscopy, whereby someone has to go in and physically see that cyst, that chocolate blood. So at 27 years, I was on a training school, and in a dormitory, I just felt as giving birth to something. The whole body was paralyzed, and I felt something is coming out. So I fainted, and to wake up, I found myself in the hospital. So the doctor asked me, for you, what's wrong with you? I tried explaining myself that it has taken
on this long.
I've had these symptoms, and all these are symptoms like of a pregnant lady. So she was like, now for you, you're trying to abort. That's what she told me.
Wow.
So because I had learned about some of these conditions, I was like, no. I told my colleagues, let's go for a scan. Because for her, she was like, you go do a urinalysis. This is a pregnancy, and she's trying to abort. So when we moved into the scan, the lady saw 2 huge masses of 9 centimeters.
Oh my
and
God,
one of
9
them,
is huge.
One had burst. So she was like, Grace, haven't you been going to hospitals? I'm seeing these huge mats and they have already eaten you up. So we moved on back to the doctor. That's when she came to say, you know what, I'm sorry. That's when she put me on bed, tried to examine. Then she was like, I can't manage you. She called in a gynecologist who suggested we go in for an emergency operation. So he called me and she was like, Grace, you know cysts. We will talk about cysts. And once you operate this, it's done. So we are just going to do this operation and everything will be normal. You'll get back to normal. So I went into theater at around 9 a.m. and I came out at 4 p.m.
Oh my God.
So my parents tried to ask the nurses, we want to know what exactly has happened. And they also couldn't explain. They're like, you wait for that guy who has worked on her. Seriously, we didn't see that guy the whole night. He didn't also come to explain. So he turned up the following morning and he had to explain to my parents. He was like, what I've seen, I think I've taken years without seeing this. This is endometriosis stage 4.
It even has stages. Okay.
So these masses had pulled my intestines. They had pushed them up. By this time, I couldn't breathe well at night. Wherever I would go to sleep, I would feel I'm not breathing well. Yet they had placed my intestines, pushed them up, and they
Yeah.
were placing on the heart. So I had all this layer, you know, it's this endometrium, the inner layer that bleeds, that moves outside.
Yeah.
So it has normal living cells that will start bleeding, and they keep growing with years. So it had eaten up my intestines. All these cells were in the intestines. The abdominal wall was greenish, you know, it had these cells. And all my ovaries had coiled behind the uterus.
Oh, dear.
So he had to explain this, and he was like, no one can handle this in Uganda. I was 27, and he was like, even if I take out her uterus, she will still feel this pain because it's already extensive. So he was like, I don't know where to refer you, but try to search for specialists abroad. So by the time, we really didn't have that money for that operation. So we were like, okay. He was like, once you're not yet ready, I can give her injections to stop her from having her periods again. Because
every time you would get your period, the pain was unbearable.
Yeah. Like, you imagine this lady with ectopic pregnancy. There are those ladies who have, and that terrible pain she feels is the pain you will be feeling.
Can't even begin to imagine.
Yeah. So she was like, I put her on these injections to stop menstruation, because once she bleeds, it will be severe pain.
Yeah.
So I started those injections. It was Zoladex. And it just, you know, they inject it you on your tummy. It has terrible side effects. It puts you in a menopausal state, like a woman in menopause. You get those hot flashes, you know, all the time you feel that heat. I was finalizing my course. They were telling me to have a dead year. I was like, just give me a chance to finish, because I've been told this thing, even if I go home, it won't get cured. So I thank God that I passed my exams.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was like, I think I have to go home. It was terrible pain. I used to cry before God, go before the Blessed Sacrament, and cry over there.
Yeah.
So I went home, and I was like, I think. So at home, we're like, we have a referral hospital, Mlago. Why can't we go there and see if we can have someone, maybe? So we're directed to a professor in Mlago.
Yeah.
So when he saw my results, he was like, no one can handle you here. You will die with that pain for life. So he was like, maybe you can find specialists, but even me, I have no solution. It's already stage 4. Just be on strong painkillers until you wait for your day. I have no solution for that. So I just moved out, and then we went back home. I was like, I think I have to wait for my day to die. Because I was told about this condition, but I didn't even clearly understand what brought it. They didn't clearly tell us this. So I got another type of herbal. So all years I kept taking herbal,
Trying
because
different
even
things,
medics couldn't
because you
handle this.
also were not sure what was going on with your body.
Yeah. So I got another type of herbal that it tried to reduce the pain, because I was given these injections, and I was told it couldn't exceed 4 months. So I couldn't see my menses again for almost 6 months. I got another herbal, and still I was in daily pain. So we got a herbal that tried to reduce the pain, but I didn't know masses are growing again. So I tried to get a job, and a job as a nurse. So I'd worked for only 3 months, and again I got that same experience.
Yes, the fainting.
I felt I'm paralyzed, and something is leaking again. So we moved in, we did a scan, and still they saw these huge masses. So because this blood outside doesn't have nowhere to escape, it keeps forming these pockets. So I was told, we have to remove your uterus. So my brother was like, wait to do that. So he tried to research and found out a specialist who gave us an appointment in Nairobi. So it was so hard. We had to sell off some property at home for my surgery. So when we went there, he really did the surgery. I was educated about this condition. I was told how I can live with this problem, because I was still told it has no cure. And the real cause for this illness is unknown, though there are theories that state. So I was educated that you can live with lifestyle and diet, and still when the pain is too much, you still get the painkillers. So when I came back, I felt much better. I got to see clear blood that I'd never seen before as a young girl. So I told myself, I was like, I think it's time I come out and save young ladies going through this. We go through this horrible pain, go to hospital, they treat UTI all the time. And you find that this is one of the leading conditions to infertility. That even now I'm married, but I've not had a child yet. So you find that at stage 4, it's really hard, and someone has to opt for like IVF and other measures. So we had found Endometriosis Foundation Uganda to really come up and support ladies with this problem.
Wow, Grace, can I hug you? I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness, I feel like I'm going to be giving out so many hugs on this Kweshunga platform. One, I can relate with period pain, not to the extent that you're describing it, but I know that, every time the period comes, there's that discomfort that comes with the uterus shedding. And so the pain you describe is something my brain cannot even try to understand, and you have gone through that. It also breaks my heart very much that doctors don't even tell you, because if you're suspecting, if your first stereotype is I'm having an abortion or I am pregnant without even checking to see what's going on, that's just... Anyway, I shall not go crazy today. I shall allow you to tell your story so that someone out there who is going through the same thing can know what to do and know how to go about it. You mentioned something about living with it. So are you saying that even after the surgery, the pain is still there? Because I thought the surgery takes away the masses, and I don't know, please explain, because you mentioned that, and I thought, okay, so the surgery is not even the solution.
The surgery is just to lessen the extent
pain
of this problem.
Or the growth, yes.
And to relieve these masses, and to improve your quality of life and also fertility. It's done to help you possibly try to conceive, because there is a way it affects your tubes. If it's at the ovaries, it eats up your ovaries. So they try to cut and try to uproot these tissues so that at least, and to even reduce on that pain, because it becomes so horrible if these masses keep on growing, and at times they lead organs to clamp together. At times you're just there and you feel that horrible pain, you can't move. At times your ovary may twist into the intestines, and because that one at times happens. Once it's extensive, organs clamp together. So it improves your quality of life, and try to see that maybe you can conceive.
Is it preventable? Are there things, because you talked about lifestyle and dieting, tell us about that. What are you doing now? Because you've already had the surgery. I'm sure there are people out there who have the symptoms and have never even tested, but can try and have a comfortable life. What does that look like? What does it mean?
So, having had this surgery, we are told of the measures like lifestyle and diet that really help. Because once this tissue, this condition is hormonal fed. Once estrogen increases in your body, it's what nourishes it. It needs estrogen to keep on growing. So once you keep estrogen a bit at the normal level, or you
manage your estrogen levels.
Yes. So you have to eat well to keep it there. So you find that after my surgery, I got better. It took me like 2 years to get that relief. And that was after abide by this diet. So once I eat badly, even up to now, you eat sugar, you eat those things that are so sugary. I eat what I'm not supposed to eat, like red meat, wheat products, chapatis, all that. The pain
so you're
comes
off red meat, you're off wheat, you're off sugar, you're off all
dairy
those things.
Products, milk. Once you eat them, you
wow.
get that bloating and the pain comes immediately. So once you stop those things, that you will just keep this thing a bit dormant. And in most cases, once you eat badly, those cysts start growing.
Coming again, yeah.
You do a scan, you see a cysts.
Yeah.
So for me, I know I don't need to go for that medicine. I
Yeah.
just have to work on my diet. And the next time you go, it has shrinked.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So the foundation, because I know after this surgery, you decided to start up this foundation to help Ugandans and even beyond Uganda, really, to understand what the condition is and also to see how to help other people. What are you doing now with the foundation? Yeah.
We do sensitization to the general public and medical professionals about self-care management of this condition.
Okay.
Because we believe through creating awareness, we have few gynecologists that at least have come up to detect this problem.
Yes.
And many of our hospitals, you find that since this is something, it looks a bit new, but many women have been going through this.
Yes.
And some of them have a term, like in Uganda, we call it chigalanga. Those people who have that term, this could be endo and you're terming it that way. So you find that through creating awareness in health institutions, our health workers will be able to detect this earlier, not normalizing the period pain.
Yeah.
These students come into hospitals, they are given injectables and then go back.
I
Yet this
actually
could be
remember in
endo.
school you would go to the sick bay. Then we had sick bays. You would go to the sick bay and say you have cramps, and they'd be like, no, you're just being lazy or you're faking it. And, you know, cramps affect us differently. Like you said, the symptoms, the vomiting, there are extremes that, you know, cause us to worry. And so I'll just even put this out there that if you're experiencing these symptoms, maybe it's just normal. It's not just the normal period pain. Maybe you need to go and have yourself checked. But also, like, you know, that like our health system is just crazy. And so going to the hospital alone is not enough. Try and educate yourself also about endometriosis and how it's affecting women's bodies. It's oh my goodness. So I've been seeing posters going around for different people fundraising for endometriosis. Are they part of your foundation? How can we support them? Even the people that are watching us, how can we support the foundation to put word out there? And then beyond the sensitization, are we working with medical workers to, you know, diagnose properly what it is that this thing is? I'm calling it a thing because it's just an elephant in the room that we can't quite fully understand yet. Yeah.
So as a foundation, we do support these ladies. You find that some of the treatments are so expensive, like Soladex alone and some of these drugs, 300, 400. So some of these ladies can't afford. Most of them have lost their jobs. Breakups because even her husbands can't understand this. So you find that even a surgery, laparoscopy alone, the one that will really confirm you have endo and help to stage you, it has been in like 10M just to detect, 6M just to detect you have endo, to confirm. So you find that we have gynecologists on our group that have come up to really support these ladies and reduce on the cost for laparoscopy. But you find that at severe stages, it's still a bit hard to be managed here. And that's why some of our ladies, we have to solicit fundraise so that they all too can have surgeries, better surgeries abroad. You find that for stage 4, at times it's hard to be managed here. And someone has to look for. It took me like 30 million for that surgery over everything. So at times funds are a bit a limitation.
Definitely.
And we would love
the
to.
The economy is tough as it is. So.
And even moving this word to many parts of our country, because many people need to know this. Still, you know, funding.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we do try our best according to our means. Most of these ladies are psychologically affected, mentally affected, because some of them are linked to us from Butavika, because mentally she couldn't understand.
The pain is
You
unbearable.
know, she's like, I'm alone in this world.
Yeah.
So when we come together as a family, we get ideas, we get, you know, we come up from all this psychologically.
Oh wow, Grace, I'm overwhelmed. That's one, and in my being overwhelmed, I don't even know what to say right now. I just feel like, what is this? How come nobody talks about? Okay, yes, maybe people. I know that a friend of mine, Faith Mulonji, has been talking about endometriosis. I did not know the extent, and now sitting here with you, I'm feeling like, oh my God, I should have listened more, asked more questions, done something about it, and I'm so grateful to you that you're doing something about it. That you've lived through the pain and you've carried the grief of all the things that happened to you, but you're also using that pain to empower other women and to help them deal and cope with this. I don't know if you've worked with spouses or men in handling this matter, either as champions or as, because sometimes when you're on your period, even your partner doesn't know what's going on with you. Men think, you just have mood swings and that's it. Is there a way you're educating men about, because sometimes they might help in educating also their girlfriends, their wives, their spouses, their partners on how to manage this, or they could make life easier. So does the foundation also work with men?
Yes, it does. We have advocates, male advocates, and we would also love to call upon more who would really have interest for endo.
Yes.
Yeah, we have learning sessions where at times we call in couples for couple counseling.
Yes.
And we have male champions that can do that.
Okay.
These are medics who can really do this. And we also would love to thank the Friends of Vessel Is Me for coming up and join us through this to move on with endo. Our dear friends of Kweshonga, we thank you so much for this opportunity. We are really grateful because all this is helping us to create more awareness about the problem.
No, I'm so happy that you're putting the word out there. It's
and
important.
To our dear parents out there, the heads of schools, really young girls are going through this in schools. You institutions, you find that someone is talking about this terrible pain and we take it for granted. At times they are not given, you know, they are not put into under consideration. They are just told it's normal. I used to live that life. I used not to socialize with my colleagues at school. I used to stay alone because no one could understand.
No one understands what you're going through.
Yes, so mentally you are affected. So let's understand this. Period pain, severe period pain is not normal. You can link them to Endo Foundation Uganda. In case they are not detected wherever you're taking such people.
Thank you, Grace. And I know that if you Google, if you go on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you will find the Endo Foundation Uganda. But also, I am happy to share Grace's contact. If you need it, you can write to us in the comments, and I will link you up to Grace to help, or even to Vessel Is Me to help deal with this issue. I'm calling upon everybody out there to get yourself checked. Get yourself checked. Even if you feel things are okay, get yourself checked. Because I think if attention had been paid to you earlier on, we wouldn't have gone to stage 4. It would have been prevented. Not necessarily taken away, but something could have been done. And so I'm so glad that you're doing something about it now. And you've educated me. Like, I'm here and I'm thinking, oh my goodness. All this time I thought, period pain is normal. Like everyone goes through it. It's different extremes, but because period pain happens to so many people, and learning today that, extensive extreme period pain is abnormal is just mind blowing. So thank you. I'm just going to ask you to share one last thing that you want our viewers and listeners to take away from this. And I know that we will host you again and again to just make sure that the awareness is happening and that people are doing something about it. Please say one last thing and also talk about the campaign you're running for Sheila Navuma so that people can support her cause to get the surgery for endo. Yes.
So thank you once again for this opportunity, Tashunga. As we've talked about it, the surgeries are too expensive and we can't handle it alone as a foundation. Any viewers out there that can really come in to support these ladies. We are trying to fundraise for some. Others have nothing. Others are really orphans and they can't afford this. So they are just moving on with dietary lifestyle, moving into hospital. They've had so 4 surgeries here and they need better surgeries. So viewers out there, supporting an endo warrior is what you can do to really change the life of this lady. We would be grateful. We have Sheila Navuma, who is really having her surgery next month, and we've been trying to fundraise for her. So feel free in case you would love to do something for Sheila so that she can also feel better, you know. We know this is a lifetime journey, but we can get better. We live better and we know this is how we were created and we can live, you know, a better life.
Thank you, Grace. And now you're crying. I'm going to also start crying, but I don't want to get into the teary part of today because my heart is already in. So, guys, please go and get yourself checked. Read about these things and take care of your lives. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your beautiful selves. Men out there, support your sisters, your friends, your girlfriends, your partners. Support them to find the help that they need. Like Grace said, extreme period pain is not normal. Please don't normalize it. Don't make it seem like the norm. It's not. It's wrong, it's painful, it's bad, it's going to affect your health. So go see a doctor. If they're not helping you, check out the Endo Foundation UG. If you don't get help there, we can still figure out ways to find the help. I'm going to leave it at that, and I wish you a wonderful week and weekend and month and year, but please take good care of yourselves. Thank you so much, Endo Foundation UG. Thank you for viewing. Subscribe, leave a comment, do something. Thank you to the Agandi Studios and of course the Kweshunga crew. Mwah.